All right, guys, great noon, and we're welcome to the first live trading section of Tafabot. And this is our initiative to make sure that the community is gaining a whole lot of profit from the market every day. And soon we plan to expand this. So during the course of this meeting, I will be showing you several markets. We are going to be analyzing. This is not training or teaching. This is live trading, means we're going to be doing settings during this training. We're going to be taking up trades. We're going to be executing trade, finding the best configuration for different markets, understanding where is the market moving to, and what do we do to make the best out of it. Perfect. So for that, first we're going to be looking at the charts, and I'm using TradingView for that. And first thing when we want to trade is to understand where is the market going. From there, we'll be able to look at individual coins that we want to take up trades in, both on spots and on futures. So if you're following this and you're trading on spots, this includes you. If you're trading on futures, this includes you. So when I'm talking about longing, that will mean that you're able to take the same on spots and on futures. But when I talk about we're shorting the market, means that is only available for guys who are trading the futures markets. Perfect. So first is understanding where is the market going to. And like we've always said at Tafabot, following the money is all that matters in crypto trading. You need to know where is the money going to, where are people putting in money, and where is money living into in the market. So for that, we're going to use three major charts to identify that. Number one chart that we're going to be using is total 3. And then number two charts that we're going to be using is the USDTD. And number 3 is the BTCD. In summary, the total 3 charts is a combination of the altcoin dominance minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. So you understand when money is moving directly into altcoin or when money is moving out of altcoin. Why the USDT chart shows you when money is moving back into USDT or is moving out of USDT. And the BTCD shows you when money is moving into BTC. So this is totally different from the BTC charts, the USDT charts, and all of that. This is a sum total of the global market atmosphere. So we use that to identify first, where is the market? What is the market planning to do? So we're going to start with the USDT-D that shows us where people are putting in money. Are they sending back their money into USDT or are they taking out their money from USDT? So if we look at the chart over here, that happened around this area and certain spike around several areas, and all of those spike, you can identify what is the cause and effect of those spike, which we're going to see. So in the 1 hour time frame, the concept we're going to be using for trading on Tafabot as it relates to the Martingale strategy is called trading in the zone. So in trading in the zone, we try to identify what is the zone of the market, what zone is the market trading in, and we want to make sure we create a system that covers up that zone, and when it goes outside that zone, our trade then invalidates. So first is to identify what is the zone of the market. So in the USDT chart, we're going to see over here a large spike of USDT that happened around the dominance of 6.7%, and the market instantly started dipping since yesterday. Now, when the market is dipping on a USDTD, it means people are cashing out money out of USDT. So the question becomes, where are they taking this money to? Are they sending it to their bank accounts in cash, or are they putting it somewhere else? So we try to identify where is the money going to. So we can see money is leaving USDT. If I move to the 1 day time frame, in trading in zone, you are not looking for short term, right? You're looking for 1 hour to 1 day time frame to be able to cover up the zone for your configuration. So if we look also at the 1 day time frame, we're going to see this same spike that happened over here and the dip over here. But there's something that we're going to identify is that at this point, we're going to see that USDT is hitting 1 minute. that USDT is hitting a money supply zone over here, meaning that as much as people are pulling out money, in several occasions that they pulled out this amount of money, the money went back into USDT. So we see that that zone is about approaching, but the question is, where was this money pulled out from and where is it going to? So if we now look through, we want to check through Altcoin, is the money going into Altcoin or is it going into BTC? If it's not going to either of them, it simply means that people are cashing out of the market. So everything is going to crash. If the money is moving out of USDT, it's not moving into any of the markets, means people are not happy with the market. They don't think the market is going to go up and they're just cashing out. So we'll see where is our money moving into. So if we look at this, when that spike happened around here, that started crashing the USDT, we're going to see over here that at the same time, we had the same week that happened that started pushing money into Altcoin. So when you identify this, you understand the market trend that, okay, Altcoin is about taking a new turn, money is moving into Altcoin. And all of a sudden, if you go to the market index, we could just go through market change. And you notice a lot of altcoins are in the move. You're seeing IOST at 26%. You're seeing MTL at 21. So a lot of altcoins are in the move. Now, all of these are not so much dependent on the personal chart of that altcoin, which we're also going to see. But it just means that money is moving directly into altcoin and a lot of altcoin will just start going up. So we now identify that the money moving out of USDT is going into Altcoin. Then we check BTC also. We see that some part of the money went into BTC, but money is already leaving BTC at this point. So money is leaving BTC. And what does this tell us? Is that BTC is going to have, is going to start cashing out. People are already cashing out of BTC. And if we look at the BTC chart, we're also going to see why are people currently cashing out of BTC. And you're going to see it over here that BTC just hits the same resistance as at August 2022. So this same resistance over here is what BTC just hits again. So you now understand why people are currently cashing out money out of BTC. So if we move to the 1 hour time frame, this is on the 1 day, we are also going to see that BTC is hitting a resistance at that level where people are beginning to take out money out of BTC. So you're going to see BTC starts going down, and what are the possibilities of how far it can go. We are also going to analyze. And then let's look at Altcoin, which is our total 3. We see that money is not moving out of Altcoin. People are still pouring money into Altcoin. So they are done with BTC, and all the money that is leaving the market is currently going into Altcoin. But if we look at the 1 day time frame, we'll also see that Altcoin is also hitting an all-time high money flow that happened in November last year. So we're going to see Altcoin dominance possibly grow up till about $403 billion. And then we're also going to see money start leaving Altcoin if no further money gets in. And we can already see that happening because USDT is already hitting a support zone. So from these 3 charts, we have an idea that money is leaving BTC, USDT is at a support zone, money is still in Altcoin, but if BTC starts dumping, USDT starts going up, people are cashing back in. Some persons who have made money off altcoins, like they've made 25% from IOST, they want to take profit. So you're going to see people taking profit and money also moving out of Altcoin. So what is going to happen also is we're going to see Altcoin start crashing once it hits that high cap. So in the general atmosphere of the market, what we can see is we're expecting a crash anytime soon. So that gives us a perspective as to the atmosphere of the markets. Now, from that, we can now go into individual markets to look for markets that we can find a short position in, since we know that the general atmosphere of the market is that we are going to be expecting a dump anytime soon. So we want to look for altcoins to find short position in, and also Bitcoin. Okay, at this point, I'll pause this a little bit, and I want to be sure that we're following. So I'm going to pause the recording. All right, so let's look at the BTC charts. First, we want to look at the 1 hour and the 1 day time frame. So we already saw that's in the 1 hour time frame, we're hitting a resistance apart from the week around 25,000, which Bitcoin has already done. So we can see the high of Bitcoin at $25,250. And that is the height that we're already kicking at right now. So if we also check on the 1 day time frame, we also see that we're hitting the same high on the daily time frame at $25,344. So we are very close to a major hit on BTC side. So how far can BTC go, since we already understand that the market is going to take a short side? So for that, we want to check through our price range. So in Martingale, I said, what you do is that you're trading in the zone, right? So you want to identify what are the zone that your configuration should cover up for. So if we look at BTC over here, from the point up to the next resistance, we're looking at about a 1.6%, sorry, a 1.6% movement upward. So let's identify that, and let's also see what that becomes on the 1 day time frame. So on the 1 day time frame, we are also going to try to capture what is the possible price range. So if we do that, we're going to see the next possible price range happening around this part. Now, one thing to understand in trading in the zone is that previous resistance becomes support once that resistance is beaten. So we can see the previous Bitcoin support over here, which also becomes resistance once that is beaten. So we see that happen over here. We see that over here, and that is a 7.6% away from the current market price. So we're seeing BTC at 26,790. Next is, what is the next range that BTC has upward if money starts moving back into BTC, unlike what we just saw, and BTC still keeps going up. We are now going to be targeting a next range around 26% that leaves BTC at 31,500. Now, the beautiful thing about the Martingale structure that Tafabot provide is it doesn't just allow you track a market, but it allows you cover up for the excesses that a market could do. So that's why we trade in the range to cover up for every excesses. So we are saying, okay, this is the market structure, but we understand that a market structure can break at any time, could be influenced by news, by an FA, by so many factors in the market. And when that breaks, what are the zones that the market should be looking at? So we see a 26% maximum zone that the market is looking at. The next is to check what are the zone downward that we should be looking at. So we're going to do that also. So the first zone we have over here, which was the previous resistance that turned support, is I'm going to switch that to red so we're able to identify it clearly. So we see that zone happening at a 11.8% downward of Bitcoin, keeping Bitcoin price at $21,864. Super amazing. So we see what are all the possible zones if Bitcoin decides to keep capsiding. So if we check that, we're going to check what are the next previous support, and that support is happening at a 25% Bitcoin movement, keeping Bitcoin at 18,480. So in trading in the zone, we now see we want to short this market because the market sentiment is short. Market is hitting resistance. Money is already moving back into USDT, leaving Bitcoin. It's going to start affecting altcoins soon. So we want to short this market, but we have two potential that could happen at a 7.6% and a 26.20%. But if the market goes in our direction, we're looking at first an 11% dump, followed by a 25% dump. So how do we create a configuration for this? Perfect. So over here, I have my Tafabot. So we're going to be doing, like I said, we're going to be doing direct configuration. Means I'm going to be taking the same trades that I'm sharing on all of our trainings. And the next day, we're going to be reviewing those trades to see how well did that perform, what were the results, and what could we do better there. Perfect. So to create our configuration, we've made it easy for every Tafabot user. So you don't have to worry yourself, okay, now I've identified what the market wants to do. I already know, okay, this is the market range that I'm looking at, but how do I create this configuration? We've taken off that whole trouble from you, and I'm going to be showing you something that you as angels are seeing for the very first time that no other Tafabot users has ever seen. So it's called the Tafabot Martingale calculator, and we're launching it for the first time in this meeting. So over here, you can see the Tafabot Martingale calculator. I'm going to share the charts so you're able to access it. So in the Tafabot Martingale calculator, what it helps you do is to give you all the settings you require without you doing any work. So what are the inputs that we need to do? So for example, I want to trade this Bitcoin data, and I say I want to put in a $5,000 into Bitcoin, following what we just found out on the Bitcoin movement. Now, if we go back there, we said we're expecting a dump to 11%. So, and also we're expecting a pump if the market goes against us, 7.6%. And the highest zone right now is at 26%. So if I want to create a Martingale that covers up a 26% market zone movement, what I need to do is go to the Tafabot Martingale calculator, and then I say I want to cover a 26% movement, and then I need to identify what is the average movement. Let's go over to the chart. So the average movement is if BTC decides to start going up or going down, what is an average that it goes up with? It doesn't just, apart from when the market is heavily pumping or heavily dumping, that it could just do a 5–10% instantly. There are market zones that the market keeps just shorting into. So we want to identify that. For that, we use a shorter time frame to look at what is BTC ranging capacity. An example, this is an example of a ranging capacity of BTC, and we need to identify what is the average price movement within those range. So if we check our range flow, we're going to see this is happening at about 0.98%. That's the move. If we try to identify any other one that's happened in the last 24 hours, we're going to see another new range that was formed over here. And this range happened at 1.3%. If we try to take it further, we have a 1.3% over here. We have a 0.98. So we're still within a 1% range. Going to close that out. We're still within a 1% range. If we keep looking through the data of every time Bitcoin has formed just a ranging, we try to identify what is the average movement that has happened. We're still within a 1% range. So we can say we want to create a BTC following an average movement of about 1.3%.
I don't want to confirm new stack. New stack is the normal software.
Okay. So when I do that, I impute those data, I just click calculate. So it shows me this is my Martingale, this is my capital that I'm aiming to use, targeting a 26%, following a 1.3% average. So it tells me I need a 20 number of entry using a first capital of $18.3. And then here are my entries to cover up for the whole movement and have, now the beautiful thing about the calculator is it does all the mathematics to understand if the price moves to this level, how do you have the best average entry? So it gives you, here are the configurations to have the best average entry on that. I'm going to pause the video to take like few questions on this to be sure we're following, and then we hit into creating these configurations. So let's move ahead to create our configurations on this. Now, a few things to note is if you trade in futures, you want to understand the risks and leverage stuff that comes with it. So if you have $5,000 capital and you're thinking, okay, why not just do a 10S? You have to understand the risks that comes with that. For me, what I prefer to do is if you want to trade $5,000 on a 10S, you have $5,000 to trade. For me, it is better to use $5,000 market quantity than $5,000 of your capital, so that it leaves you with more capital and lesser risks as it relates to futures to do other market. Now, what do I mean by that? If you trade in $5,000 on a 10S, practically you're trading $5,000 multiplied by 10. That's a whole lot of money, which gives you about 50K, right? And that's a whole lot of money if you're leveraging on that. If the market goes against you, you're going to need a stop loss, which is very, very important. But then you could also use the whole $5,000 inside the market, but not your $5,000. Now, how do you do that? If you're using a 10S, 10% of $5,000 is going to give you 500. So if I want to open a $5,000 position side, what I could do is to say I want to open a $500 position size. Automatically, what that means is I just opened a 1S, but only using $500. So I'm going to do the same thing, 28% and 1.3. And then it gives me my configuration over here doing that. So I'll still be opening a $5,000 position size, right? Which is the whole money I have, but I will only spend $500 out of my money. It means I have $4,500 to explore other markets and to cover up for leverage. So this will allow you to do a lot of market. Then you're putting in your $5,000 on a full 10S. So that gives you more risk. But this, of course, is going to work more if you're looking into a lot other market to balance out your risk. Okay, so let's do that. So I want to put in, I'm going to create my own configuration. So I'm going to do a 10K into BTC, doing the same thing. If I want to go a 10S, so I'm going to go for a 1K into BTC, pulling a 10K position side. So 1.3, it gives me 21 entries. So I'm going to go on Tafabot. I have my Tafa over here. Okay, let's go over. So I'm going to go to the futures boards, and I already have a BTC setup running that's already covering that. So I'm going to add to that. So if you look at my setup, I created a setup for $2,000 using $20,000 capital already. So over here, I'm going to go for a 21. Let's open that again. I'm going to go for a 21% market movement using a 10S leverage, which gives me a capital size of 3.3. And this is on the ground. I'm looking to explore so many other markets aside BTC. And we understand that you want to do a lot of altcoins because they are still on the high as against BTC that the market, the money is already leaving. So 3.3. And then I go into configuration. It tells me my first entry is about 1.3. Second entry is about 2.6. Third entry is 3.9. So I fill up all my entry. My fourth entry is 5.2. And my fifth entry is 6.5 and 7.8. So you put out all of your entries. And my ninth entry, 11.7. And 10 entry, we have 13 and 14.3. And then we have 15.6. And we have 16.9. And for thin, we have 18, 18.2. Now, this is the amazing thing that the calculator gives you when it structures this entry this way, is that if the market goes the full 27% against you, which we've covered up for, unlike most Martingale that we've seen most of the users said that the market is now over 10% against them from a 27% movement. This structure, the way the calculator is created, it reads all the price at each of this entry, where would the price be at currently, and then gives you what should be an average using some mathematical calculations there. So if the market goes against you full 27%, you will possibly be about 1 to 3% away from the market entry, which gives you the best average price that the market just start moving and it's totally in your favor. You don't have to wait for like big price movements. So we have the position 15 at 19.5. I'm creating a very low capital into BTC because I'm going to put a whole lot of capital into altcoins that is going to give better profits. Then we have 20.8 and we have 22.1. Now you're probably wondering why we're going for so many entries. We could also create the same structure for the first price range, which is a 7%. And it will possibly give us maybe 2 or 3 entries or so to create, but we want to cover the maximum the market can go. So you can go to sleep and not have to check your phone always on what the market is doing. Okay, then I have 24.7 and I have 26, and finally I have 27.3, and I have to replicate the ratio that I'm going to be using. So this also solves the case where a lot of users are creating Martingale configuration that totally exceeds their capital. So all of their entries are maybe 10% of their entries are in, their capital is exhausted because they don't know how to create the setup. So this does all the calculation with your capital, ensures that with all of these entries in, you are only using the capital you stated, and you're never exhausting your capital on that. So that is totally taking the horses away from creating a Martingale structure. Okay. And in the future, we hope to get this into the app, so that it's going to be one click for paid users, and they will just be able to create this configuration and it automatically enters into the app without having to manually put them in. And then we go more, we have 11, 10, we have 9.1. And then we have 7.5, 7.8, and we have 6.5, and 5.2, and 3.9, and 2.6, and 1.3. Okay. All right, so what is going to be our take profit? If we go back to the charts, we said we're expecting a first 11% dump. But what I try to do in Martingale is I have 2 different structures. I have a long-term structure where I create a Martingale with a lot of capital and just cover up. I say I'm taking a 10% profit from this. Mean if I'm doing a 10S, 100% profit of my capital. And also there are also
reply that with this.
There are also Martingale that you create for short-term run. So for such, what I do is I'm going to go for a 1% movement, meaning that this is going to take multiple trade. If I was to go for a full 10% movement, I'm going to create that Martingale structure, which we're going to start doing during the course of this meeting. as a strategy one. If I show most of my Martingale, they're strategy one. They just get into the trade, take all the best profit from it, and then it stops the bot. For this, we're going to go for 100, meaning we're ready for the market to keep going in and out of several trade, taking a 1% profit ratio, meaning a 10% of our capital, and we're good to go. So what this means is if at any point only our first capital gets into the market, if we go over here, if at any point only our first capital gets into the market, we're going to be having multiple trades of our first capital, taking 10% at each point. So there we have our BTC setup done. So let's look through all the markets. Tomorrow we're going to review how far and how well this is doing. And we created the setup at this point. So let's look through all the market that we can deal with. We can also go to add. But if you're looking at day profit, BTC might stay 1-2 days before moving. You want to look for highly volatile markets. So what I tend to do is to look for markets that are already on the move. So if we go to this market index, we already see IOST is the guy that is currently topping the chart and on a 27% movement. We already understand money is soon going to start moving out. So we want to chart IOST and create a configuration that starts making us profit immediately. So these are the kind of profit that you want to take everything that the market has to offer. So let's look through IOST. So we're going to create a chart for that. So let's go IOST, USDT. Perfect. And then I move to a 1-day time frame to look at how far the market has been doing. So over here we have IOST low at about 0.0064 and IOST 0.5 if the market chooses to go maximum bullish. But then we want to find what are the current zones that the market has to beat before all of those starts happening. So the first zone we want to identify over here is this guy. So we're going to create a price range for that. So over here from IOST, getting into the next zone over here, we have a 30% IOST movement. I'm going to switch this to green. So we identify it. And before that, we have a mini zone to also cover up for, which IOST is currently struggling at. We have this very tiny mini zone over here, which is a 13.8% movement. Now, what if IOST decides to go gaga? How gaga are we looking at? Is that the market can keep going up to, we've already covered for this range, can keep going up to the next resistance over here. That gives IOST at about a 78% price movement. That is absolutely totally crazy. But we understand that the whole market is, if we look back over here, we see USDT, what's it called? Altcoin is still pretty stable. Money is not moving out yet, still pretty stable. If we go to USDT over here, we see USDT is still at the support. The market is static, nothing is happening. We see BTC is still there. Market is totally static, nothing is happening. BTC is beginning to regain some money back into BTC. But altcoin is hitting this point where money is going to need to move back from altcoin into USDT. So we want to trade in where the market is going, not where it just currently is, because that's where it currently is can switch right now. So we want to trade where is the market going. So if we want to create a short for IOST, we are planning a short that can cover up a whole 30% movements. And this part is the maximum if the market is ever to go really gaga. So we're looking at doing, so I'm going to move to 5 minutes charts. Over here, it has been doing a lot happening. So if we pull the range, we see IOST running a range of about 6%, really volatile, extremely volatile. Pulling a range of 6%, and we also have a shorter range that is happening over here at about 3.5%. So both of those two range we want to look at, are we covering? All right. So let's create an IOST configuration. I'm going to go for a 3.5% so we can have a lot of entry into the market. So back to a 1 day, we're looking to cover up a 30.5% market movement on a 3.5 average. For IOST, I want to do much capital into it. So we're going to go for I'm going to go for 3K into IOST. We're looking at a 30% movement, and then we're looking at a 3.5% move. So we only have 8 entries for this. Super amazing. Only 8 entries is what we need to create for IOST. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to be creating a new bot for IOST. So I'm going to call that IOST setup. And on Binance, using market IOST. This is to use a $3,000 maximum capital. I'm creating a short to where the market is going to. And then my first entry amount is 23.8. And my number of entry is 8. And then I go for my Martingale configuration. I have 3.5. And then I have 7.0. Then I have 10.50. And I have 17.5. Then I have 21.0. And I got 24.5. And finally, at 28%. And then I'm also going to create the same structure for my ratio. So in my ratio, I have the same kind of system. All right, still coming. Okay. So like I said, when I started, this is live trading. We're going to review results daily. We're going to see what are the effects of our configurations every single day. Then we have entry 4 on 14 and 17.5. And we have 21.0. And then we have 24.5. And then we have a 28. Okay. Next is what should be our take profit. We need to identify what are all the IOST downward movements that we're looking at from the current range. And number 1, we can identify over here, which is happening at a 13% movement. And let's figure out other possible range that exists. So we also have another over here at 20.3%. That's enough for us. So we're looking at 13% here. So I'm going to be creating this IOST to run on a 10% full take profit, meaning 100% of my capital. So IOST run on the 10%, take profits. Strategy period is just going to be 1 because it's just going to be a one-time trade outside the zone, and we'll be done with that. To now review where is the market going to. So I create my bots. Perfect. So let's go over to starting the bots. I'm going to start my IOST. Confirm. Started. All right. Perfect. So I'm just going to pause this, and if you have some thoughts, and before we review one other asset, if you want an asset you want us to review, you can drop it in the chat. We'll review 1 other 3 for today, and we'll check how they're doing tomorrow. Okay. I still have clear open, so let me go for, I hope that's clear. In the last question, I didn't get a response.
So can we check docs? Docs,
Yeah.
DUSK.
Okay, okay, so we already have BNB in the chat. Let's see BNB, and then maybe we'll look at docs. We are 4 minutes away from our closing time. Okay, so first BNB, we have BNB over here. Literally all the market is hitting the cap because everything flows with the money. The money over here is that we are already at the support where people want to start cashing out their profits. So everything is just following the whole market sentiment. And we're seeing that also in BTC. And you see BTC is struggling at this point because it has hit the major resistance that's been happening since May. Over here, this has been going on since May. So we have BTC forming that range over here. Let's see what is the range movement. If BTC don't start dumping from where it is right now, what are we looking at? Is the BTC okay, decides to push forward for a 7%? Or if something happens in the market and everybody go gaga and starts buying, then we're looking at BNB going for a 25% again before we see a decline in the price. And then if BTC decides to start going down from here, we're looking first at a 4.7% movement. I'm going to switch that to the negative. Okay, so first we're looking at a 4.7 range. And next, we keep going with BTC. We look at an 11% range. If we find what is the next range after that, we keep going and we'll be finding the 20% BTC range, BNB range, sorry, at $257. So if I want to do this, I want to create for the maximum price movement, right? I want to go for 25% because I don't want to create a stop loss at this point. I want to cover up all the markets can do because for me as a trader, I want all my entries to go in. So I'm unbothered if the market is going as far as it is the range I'm covering for. So I want all my Martingale entries to be inside the market. That's why I go for the long-term range and then the short-term range. So if you're just looking for shorts, you want to use all your capital in a short market, you can do the 7%. But the goal of this trading is we're going to be making profit, but we're going to be making profits in the best possible risks. So looking at 25% on BNB, but what is an average movement that's been going on? Let's see. First, we see BNB doing this average. This is at 0.5. That's not good enough. Want to see what other average movement has it been doing? This is also good over here. Every time BNB starts ranging, this is happening at 1%. Still not so good for an altcoin, even though sometimes BNB feels like a stable coin. CZ does a good work on that. Almost feels like Bitcoin. Everything is a 1% movement. That's crazy for an altcoin. So let's see a longer time frame of 15%, 15 minutes. What is BNB doing? So now we're identifying about 2.5%. I'll prefer to take that than a 1% for an altcoin. So I want to go for a 2.5 on BNB. So back to what we have over here. Where is our, yeah. BNB is so static. I don't want to put a lot of my money on it right now. It's really not that volatile. 1% volatility rates is really bad. So I'm just going to do a tiny amount into BNB. I'm going to go for $1,000 bucks. And then I'm trying to capture 1 minute. We're looking at, go back to BNB. We're looking at a maximum 25%. 7% won't be good because if the market decides to cover up for this altcoin, don't forget we have altcoin money flow that is possible to happen from year over year of a 3.4%, 4.3% altcoin money flow is possible. So that is able to push the market for altcoin for the little. So I wouldn't want to do a 7% movement for BNB. I'll just go for the maximum of it, 25.8%. So 25.8, and I want to do an average of 2.9. It gives us 8 entries to create for BNB. For this, I'm also going to do that. I'm going to create BNB setup. I took a good amount of profits from Clay yesterday and this other guy that I'm still trading over here, Clay and Zen. If I show you the history, I did a Zen short when Zen was at 15,300, 15.3, sorry, up to Zen going to the 12.7. And I'm still placing the shorts to keep going because the whole market is going to switch short soon. So, okay, then we have BNB over here. And we want to go for $1,000 and we want to create a BNB short. For today, we're not going to be looking at longing any markets. For spot guys, this is why it's important to also have futures and using the system we're providing, which is more managed rigs, because you don't want to trade because you want to trade. You want to trade because this is where the market is going. So you're not just looking to enter into the market. I'm just going to create a long any setup because it's going to make me money. It could make you money, but it's always not the best route. So sometimes there won't be trade for sports. There will be trade for futures. Some other time, it's going to be a lot of trade for futures. So we have first entry amount over here, 9.6. So I'm going to go for a 9.6 and number of entries just 8. That's super interesting. And I'm going to go for a leverage 10. BNB is not so volatile, so that's fine for me. And over here, I'm looking at 2.9. I'm looking at 5.8. Then I'm looking at 8.7. And then I'm looking at 11.6 and 14.5, 17.4, 20.3, and 23.2. And I'm going to replicate that to give me the same thing on the ratio. So I'm going to use that. Sometimes it could be different depending on what configuration you're giving, but averagely it's almost going to give you this because that gives you the best entry. Okay. So we have BNB setup. So I have 2.9, save, and take profit. Let's look at what are we looking at for BNB. We said there's a 11% is not so much a volatile market. I'm going to go for a 4% take profit, means I'm willing to take everything that BNB can provide in the first drop. So this serves as part of the long-term trade. Notice we're going volatile market, we're doing short-term trade, non-volatile market, we're doing mostly long-term trades over there. So I'm now going to move to strategy period as 1. because it's just going to be a one-time trade. And then I create, I'm going to start up BNB immediately. So I have BNB set up here. Start, I'm going to go to my Binance. We're going to have BNB open shortly. Part of the good part of using fast license, we're probably going to have BNB opening like in seconds. Reloading, loading. We're going to have BNB open. Okay, so then we'll call it a day. Tomorrow we're going to review. Today we looked at BTC, we looked at IOST for short term, and we also looked at BNB. Tomorrow we could look at DOSC and the rest of them. So I'm going to pause this right now. Okay, yeah, now we have BNB open over here. Okay. All right, so see you guys tomorrow. Let's go make some profit. Tomorrow we review how far this went. And if you take profit, you want to keep sharing those. And there are some times that maybe the market moves before even tomorrow, we could make a video and share so you know what next to do as it relates to the configuration that we just looked at. And also we posted the Martingale calculator in the chat. So you want to go over to the chat right now, get the link, do your own setup. If you didn't do it while I was doing mine, create your own setup. I want to start seeing also your results as we review from tomorrow. All right, guys, catch ya.
Thank you, Mr. Sam.